Doing good. I like it. Mm, yeah. Yeah. There's a certain level of intimacy that can only be with your wife. You're good. Imagine guys being intimate is a little bit weird, but I think it's something we need. I try to. Tell me how you're feeling for 3 minutes. After that, I tune out. No, I don't. I'm getting better. It's 4 minutes now. Any questions up to this point? We're good? Please, nothing is out of bounds. And afterwards, though, I want to do a little Q&A probably before we move into our little practicum session. And I'm purposely not moving in prophecy. I may though still, because I really don't. I really want to let it be with at a particular gifted level, and it be more with us as a group. So that's part of the reason why I'm not doing it. Okay, but we'll see how things go on. If you're wondering. All right. So we're still under our same Roman numeral 2. The first part of it we just did. The second part, which I have listed as B, you may have C, D, or whatever, is how faith grows. Everything that we do is going to be by faith. For the longest time, I hated the word because I grew up in the faith era. I couldn't stand the word. I didn't want to look at it. And then the first class I taught at our Bible college was I had to teach faith. I was like this. Okay, I get it. So here's the definition of it. I want to give it to you. It's pretty simple. So let's define it, and then we're going to look at some one verse, one story this morning to get it. All right. It means. No, did I define it? I didn't, but I know what it is already. Okay, so it means trust. Here's somebody's on the phone or something over there. Trust, belief. I hear somebody on the. Oh, some TVs over there. Trust, belief, conviction of truth. Trust, belief, conviction of truth. That's really where faith gets its root from. That would really be probably the better beginning of it. And obedience is a part of faith. That's a smaller definition, but the primary one is trust, belief. But the conviction of truth would be probably the strongest definition of it, because we're convicted of the truth, or we believe the truth that we hear or know. Therefore, we are willing to move in that truth or walk in that truth by faith. You're back, see? I'm not taking a break yet. Good. All right, got that? So that's what faith basically is, though. There's a conviction, there's a truth. So there has an increase. To do what I do now, from the first time that I ever prophesied, the first time in the first church I was in, I would do maybe once a year, maybe twice a year. Then at Bible college, probably maybe like 2 or 3 times a year. Then by the time I was in my I was part of the school there, then it would probably be weekly, a couple times a week. And it's grown to this point where it is now. But what it was, though, was my faith had to grow because I could prophesy only to the proportion of my faith. So we do everything according to the proportion. So when I feel like I'm being challenged outside of where I am, I feel it, because the thing that you'll love about the Lord, I hope you don't mind this. This is how he is. He with me, anyways, but he likes to with us. He keeps me on the edge of it all the time. I like to say like my faith was this entire room, and that's the limit of it right there. That wall. I used to be more comfortable here, because then I got this space. You know what I mean? I feel more. Now I'm at this point now where I live right at the edge of it, with my face grind to it, because I love him, and he loves to do it if you're willing. He loves to stretch me farther and farther and farther and farther, and he continually does that. And so my faith has to grow for that to happen. That's how it grows. It has to grow for me to be able to move in any other dimension larger. When someone is speaking outside of their own faith, I could tell immediately. It lacks realness, it lacks sincerity, and it lacks real understanding. It's just beyond. And so sometimes, because we're people, we want to be impressive. Anyone? Yeah, we just do. We want to be impressive. There's a little video out, Linda throwing the football. She doesn't really throw the football good, but she was impressive on the video. She was. So I naturally done, and I've done that, though. And he's been very gracious to me. I haven't been wrong. I just kind of squeezed out of where I really was. And so he had a good way of doing it. So I understand now, but he's always with me, with us, wanting to move. For me, this word in Revelation, and the prophetic word in understanding and sight, and being willing to move out, and moving to places I've never been is a constant challenge. But see, I love that though. It keeps me energized. It keeps my relationship with him very new and very changing. And I love that. If you're not that type of person, they'll never make you do that. Some people just like to live, in comfort. Some don't want to move out. But in Christianity, there'll always be this wooing of the Spirit of God for us to move out in different places. You'll lay hands on somebody. You never laid hands on people before. You raise your hands in the service. You never did it before. It starts with those kind of things, but he wants to continually move us. And I'm certainly a testimony of anything about coming from nothing to nowhere to nobody to functioning in a level that is not a DNA, is not a. That's why they struggled with Jesus, because he really wasn't of a priesthood nature, wasn't of a prophet's nature, all these kind of things. They said, you can't do this. Amos becomes the most critical prophet of all. I don't want to talk too much about that, but Amos becomes a guy who has unbelievable understanding, but he doesn't come from a prophetic lineage. Really, Israel and Judah say, shut up, go back to squeezing your figs, go back to what you do. You shouldn't even be speaking, but the guy has unreal clarity. So I love Amos. All right, that didn't help you at all, but I wanted you to have that information. All right, how does faith grow? Romans chapter 10, verse 17 is the first key way. And then, again, I want to bring us to a little story that is going to be really the ultimate challenge to faith growth to us, or the ultimate possibility of great faith. You know the verse, if you grew up charismatic, it was drilled into our heads every single moment of our lives. If you never have, then you may really, this verse might be really beautiful to you. All right, you there? Verse 17. Chapter 10, verse 17. So then faith, which is this conviction of truth, obedience, trust, belief, conviction of truth, all these things. So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. Now let me take a few moments here again with just kind of expounding, just openly. There's two primary words for the word in our Bibles. One is logos, which is really by defined as the complete thought of God. So this is the logos right here, this Bible. So don't argue with somebody who says, well, you mean everything God thinks about's in this? This is everything about God? Just say, yeah, whatever. But everything he wanted us to know, when Jesus came, he was the Word of God manifested, the incarnate Word. It became this written Word. It means the complete thought of God. It's logos. This does not increase faith. This directs it, inspires it, motivates it, unveils what it can be, and when men were. That's what this is. This is this unbelievable instructional, revelatory book for us. It's wonderful. I love it. The whole thing from cover to cover. Jesus is hidden in this book from cover to cover. Beautiful. So I love it. But this does not increase faith. Now, it can if you read it and the Lord reveals it. How many have had that? You've read something 500 times, the book, and all of a sudden, our phrase, he jumped out of the page. He revealed it. For me, he's been very gracious with this book. Because I've meant to teach it and instruct it, he's been very gracious to me from the very beginning of being very opening up this book, because it's hidden. It's manna. It's mystery in many ways. And that's why the carnal mind can't. The professors, I've said to the kids, I said it to our youth this night, argue with me when I'm on secular colleges, because they'll say to me, you believe that book? And I go, I know, it's hard to believe, isn't it? That's exactly what I mean. At least you have sense. I know I do. Logos means the complete thought of God. The complete thought. Yeah, but if I do just logic in its Greek text, right? That's true. It is. By definition, it's the complete thought of God, but you're exactly right. This is logical to God? Yes, true. So he said to me, I said, yeah, I know it's unbelievable. He goes, yeah, come on, that one story of those three guys in the fire. Come on, get real, Jay. I said, I know. I mean, how can that be real? Before I'd argue with them, now I just agree. It's impossible that can happen, right? Oh, yeah, that's what I mean. So you believe that? I said, that's the thing that makes it so unbelievable. What? That's where he lives. He loves what's not possible to make possible. Then they just look at me and go, yeah. But it's true, though. Okay. Now, Pastor Chuck I may preach this tomorrow. He may teach it, or somebody may teach it, and all of a sudden, your faith is increased by it. You might be reading it one day, and it might increase it. You may hear a song. There's that new song. I love that girl, Daigle. You said, I said I'm weak, and you said I'm strong. You hear that song? Love that girl's voice and everything. I feel like I'm defeated. You say I'm a victorious conqueror. You said it's beautiful. That song might inspire a faith to grow. But faith comes by the rhema word of God. That's out of the mouth of God, from the divine inspiration. He himself speaks it. Do you know? It's as much as I don't like talking about the devil, and I don't much because he is of the invisible, like no one else does beside our God and the angels. He fears it, the giving of glory, because he understands it. Let me just say this. Jesus said that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. You see, we are born again to be people who I have teachers, I have instructors, I have fathers, I have my own Bible, like my own PC. I have my own Bible. I have my own ability to study it, research it. It's all here. I have all those things. But I was born again. All of us were to live and eat by the words that proceeds out of his mouth. This has proceeded out of his mouth, but he likes to proceed it yet out of his mouth. He's not adding to this text. I don't have to say that to you, right? Those are the deceptive things that we know have happened. Those people who have added to it. There's a lot of issues where people have just added to the book. Some great writers who became off in the end of their lives. One prophet especially who's written incredible things that we threw it out because of his error at the end of his life. Hobart Freeman, one of the best books ever on Old Testament prophecy. So we're not adding to it, but what he wants to do is he wants to speak out of it. That's why I started this whole thing this morning, primarily this morning, was please make time to be with him. Because it's in that place that he will speak. Now, if you're one of those people that, because he's not so tightly wound like me, well, if you're not going to be there, then I'm not going to speak to you. No, he doesn't. That would be that's what I would like. If you don't want to take time with it, then he's not going to speak with you. He'll speak to you on the way, in the car on the way to work. How many of you had that? He'll speak to you in work. You seek to fast, he'll speak to you. When you seek to eat like a glutton, he'll speak to you. It's amazing. Even times when I have the worst day of my life, he speaks. On the best day of my life, he speaks. He's great at doing that. But he's built us to live before him, that the perceived word, or the word coming out of his mouth comes more, and our faith increases more. As I said to you, the key, if anybody says is Jay, what was the key to where you are now? Was it the prophetic? Was it the gospel training? No. Was it the PhD? Absolutely not. That was that didn't help at all, even though I enjoyed it. Was submission to your authority? That was a key, but that was not the answer to it. Was it really being a good husband? That was a key, but that's not the answer. Is it walking with you? Is it, they list all these things, they never get to the key. And I'll say, none of those things are the key, because they'll ask me, Jay, tell me how this opened up. Tell me really the key to this thing. And I'll say it. Spending time with him. Period, exclamation point. You know that face on your phone with the tears coming down? Just hold it there. Yeah. And so in my night watch is I just disappear sometime between 5 and 7. I just disappear 5 minutes. If I'm with people, I'll just disappear 5 or 6 minutes. Go find a place for my night watch. At nighttime, that's more of a watchman's cry. That's more of some things I understand in the scriptures. That's some nightly prayer, some nightly believing. That's joining with his John 17 prayer. 5 minutes to 30 or 40 or an hour. It depends on the time. But that morning one, it would be worth the study, though. Things come in the morning that just don't come in. In the morning, he awakens me. His mercies are new every morning. There's this thing about the morning with him that's very important. He's gracious, though. And so I have a lot of friends of mine who want to flow in this way. They do. There are some guys that, when they met me, I would 2 or 3 prophetic words. They watch. They start crying now. They'll say to Linda, they don't say it to me, this thing is unbelievable with him. I can't believe it. And they'll say to Elsa, they'll say, what's changed? What was it? Was he just not doing it? She goes, no, it's Jay's relationship with Jesus is really where it is. It's just true. See, so I'm not special. Now, I'm not. I'm as special as you. We're all special. We're all honored, all of us, guys and girls. My function's different. It's supposed to be different. Aren't you glad it's different? I'm glad. I like it. I love doing what I'm doing. But I've got to know that I'm not special, and I've got to know that I didn't earn this. And I got to know it wasn't because of Jay's strength that did it. It was just this one place that only he could speak, because he could keep his mouth closed. You know that. But he doesn't. Words proceed out of his mouth. And man, isn't it nice though? So I want to live at that mouth. So the more I'm with him, the more we're together, the more we become one, the more I'm at his mouth. I got that from our big brother. He said it. He did. And so I want it to increase. Okay, you got any questions there? Easy? So it just increases. You'll hear his word. Now, I would spend time in the scriptures, so I'm able to judge his word, because even if I'm prophesying, I'm speaking over somebody, and I know the words come right out of his mouth. They're going to still run through my grid, which I'll share with you in a little bit. All right? Good. Please, 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 I'm going to beg you for the rest of our lives. Please. And nothing I ever teach, I'll always start with this. Please, 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 make sure you spend time with it. Okay. This one story I wasn't going to do, but I feel like I should. The disciples asked Jesus, increase our faith, at a moment late in his life, third year of ministry, when they've seen everything, but he's talking about this level of forgiving your brother. He's talking about a dimension that so resists my natural man, so wars against my natural man. Peter opens up his big mouth. Well, so how many times do I have to forgive my brother? They almost said, will you shut up? Now he's going to tell us. We thought once or twice a day would be enough, then we can go hide. Now you open up your big mouth. Now he's going to give us one of his spiels. So he starts, and I love this though. He gives a story. They were probably like at the end, in the beginning, they thought, oh, great, another parable. At the end, they were like, can't you just answer the question? Why do you got to do these stories things? Right? Okay, Luke chapter 17. Pastor Sam and I sat across the street, talked about this verse, this little story. I just want you to have it. And again, what he's doing here, I just want to say, is this is like momentum faith increase. This almost takes everything out of the way of the increase of my faith. It almost like it sets it almost as a goal. For me, it became a dimension of the goal because he said it. Okay, watch this story. All right, chapter 17, verse 5. And the apostles said unto him, Lord, increase our faith. After this whole thing about offenses and forgiveness and your brother trespassing. Now listen, if you had faith as a grain of mustard seed, it might say unto this sycamore tree, be thou plucked up of the root, and be thou planted in the sea, and should obey you. Now, it's not the last time he said that. Verse 7, watch this. So he goes into this story. But which of you, having a servant plowing or feeding cattle, would say unto that servant, over time, by and by, when he is come from the field, go and sit down and eat? Or would you not rather say to him, I want you to get my food ready, make ready wherewith I may eat, and gird yourself and serve me until I've eaten, until I've drank, and afterward thou shalt eat and drink? Does he thank that servant because he did the things that were commanded him? I don't think so. So likewise you, when you have done all the things which commanded you, say, we are unprofitable servants, we have done that which is our duty to do. Now that is a very weighty story. Let me just say it, and I don't mean to break it down because you can't understand. I just want to make it just. So what he's saying, when I first saw this, matter of fact, I taught this once. This is the last time I taught it. We teach it in the Bible school, but as a principle, because I think this is a goal, attainable and purposeful for us. So what he's saying is, this is what he's saying. So here's Jay Leroux. All day long I'm working, doing everything excellent for my boss. They say whether it's plowing or cattle. At the end of the day, I punch out, which is my favorite time of the day, always has been. that immediately means I'm done with the work of the boss, and I'm now going to take care of me. That's the idea. The disciples are listening to him. Can you imagine all of them are listening to this? After they're already a little ticky because of the other answer. And he says, what if one of you to come home, and when he got home, you would wait on him? And the others are looking at each other and going, he said, wouldn't you say, listen, now I want you to come and wait on me. And so I want you to feed me. I want you to take care of me. Then when you've done all of that, you can take care of yourself. But your heart needs to be, I'm an unprofitable servant. I've done that which is I'm responsible for, commanded. So I stood back and I saw that story, and I just thought, I looked at it for a while, and I just thought, well, I want my faith to increase, so I'm getting this. So what you're saying to me is I've got my responsibility in the world, in my life, which is still unto you. And then there's a place after that you long for me to be something to you. In other words, there's something that you want out of my life. There's something you're looking for. You want your appetites full. Now, I don't mean that in any strange way or an ungodly way. He's looking for something from me where I would switch off and start thinking about me. So I'm not thinking about me at work here, and now that I'm out of my responsibilities, now I'm on my own time. Now you're looking for draw something out of me. It doesn't mean it's long, it doesn't mean it's a big meal, but you're looking for something. I now need to look towards you, and after I've done that and this, I can think about me. But in all of this, I'm not to step back and go, you know what, I'm really deserving of something. No, I'm supposed to have a heart of, you know what, this is who I am. He owes me nothing. Whew, I thought. So I started. When I got home, I started taking care of Linda. How you doing, hon? What can I do for you? And this and that. And that was the beginning of it. Now what's happened over life is, it's kind of what Jesus does. You always find this thing. He's always pleasing his Father. I don't think he gets displeased so much as he loves to be pleased. Can that be different? Take the negative out of it. I think it's pleasing. I think when I went home and checked out and got home and sat in my Blazy Boy and was just waiting for dinner, I don't think he was like in disgust. Oh my God, look at Jay. What a putz. I don't think he uses the word putz, but it fits. I mean, look at him. When's he ever going to get it? No, I don't think he does that at all. But there's this thing in him. He's longing for me to consider him before me. That's the bottom line. I'm just considering him before me all the time. It's just a lifestyle now. Now, I got to tell you, that grinded my flesh big time. I just thought, are you kidding me? Then unprofitable on top of that? I mean, when am I ever going to get my due reward? When am I going to get the pat on the back? When can I go home and be the king of my castle? When can I become Jackie Gleason? What's his name? When do I become, what's his name? You know, what does Jackie Gleason play? Ralph Cramden. When do I become the king of my castle? And Linda be the servant like she should be from the beginning. I was raised with that kind of manhood. The woman serves me. This is my house. That's how I was raised. That's Italian male. He's not Italian. You know what? People thought he was, though. They really do. They still think he's Italian. There's several reasons why. No, not because of the because, see, he lived with his mother until he was 30. Very Italian male. He hung out with the same 12 guys his whole life. And his mother thought he was God. You didn't think there was going to be some serious thing in that, did you? You really waiting for something serious in that? No. That's why we love him. The Italians love him. He had to be Italian. That's our idea. Plus, sometimes, by the word of Malachi, we got to know that he's just making an offer you can't refuse. Something's in there. Okay, so here's the story. So this is the goal. So this is the presenting my life, my body, a living sacrifice. Is that so I'm at work, it's unto him. I'm off of work, it's unto him. I'm at home, it's unto him. With my wife, it's unto him. With my house, it's unto him. With my neighbor, it's unto him. Before I go to bed, it's unto him. I sleep unto him. I wake up unto him. I thought to myself, because I was just thinking, where's room for me? I had no idea that he was going to do an exchange, me for him, in a way I never thought possible. So it's a dimension of faith that he wants to bring to us. if a man or woman is willing to live like this. Doesn't mean I just talk Jesus, quote gospel to everybody. It's not that. It's just that I'm not in the equation. You know how hard that is? Come on. Anyone here? Yeah. I'm in the equation, all right, more than I like. I'm saying this as a nice confession, but Jay shows up a lot. All right? Any questions with that? So we know faith increases by hearing the word. Please don't get offended. A lot of people say, why had one guy taught it, and we had a Bible teacher who taught it. Play your tape player at night with the Bible going on tape, and you'll grow in faith. No. You'll wake up in the morning with a lot of Bible in your mouth and in your ear. I'm certain of it. You'll quote out of the book of Job. Could you like a coffee? Yeah. All right, again, no questions? We're good? All right, let's move on. All right, Roman numeral 3. Prophecy, the spirit of prophecy, the gift of prophecy, and the prophet. A little definition and division of these people. All right, let's define prophecy. It's basically the same thing, but let's do it in the Old Testament and in the New. All right, Old Testament basically is this, as in the New. It's being under the influence of the divine spirit, primarily to prophets, of course, throughout the Old Testament. Under the influence of the divine spirit. That's really going to be a part of the New Testament. I'm just bringing a larger definition down because it goes on, because prophets have a different level of authority and responsibility and initiation by the Spirit and influence by the Spirit, which we'll see in just a moment. All right? All right. New Testament definition of prophecy is a discourse. Sorry about the language. You know, a few words, a thought, a sentence, a paragraph. A discourse coming from divine inspiration. And that, again, is something that just has to be learned. You start to feel it. That's what we'll talk about a little bit, how it comes. All right. Moving on. That was just prophecy. I make it very easily. All right. Now, the testimony, Revelation chapter 19, verse 10, is the testimony of Jesus Christ is the spirit of prophecy. Is that how it is? Or is it the other way? Pretty sure that's how it is. Let's look real quick. Revelation 19:10. Love it. Latter part. Yes, the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. This is really going to be a great summation of it. All right? So you're doing okay? I'm not giving you number 1, 2, 3. You just skip a paragraph and write a sentence. Are you okay with that? All right, just so that we can move along here at 11 o'clock. Part of it's me. I always probably spend too much time articulating some particular thing. I apologize for that. All right. So here's what it is then. The word testimony I want us to have. The word testimony means that which is being testified or testifies of. So what the Revelator is basically saying is prophecy should be, by the very spirit of it, the pneuma, the wind of it, the movement of it, should be testifying of Jesus Christ. So that kind of solidifies it with me. This is kind of for me, the strongest grid is this person of Jesus Christ. With prophecy, that as I'm getting an understanding or knowing as I articulate it, as it moves through the grid from my understanding to my mouth, from my eyesight to my mouth, to what I know to my mouth, to everything I see and know to my mouth, is the articulation must cause a drawing to, or an understanding of, or a knowing of, or bringing to this person of Jesus Christ. It's an absolute. That makes it more difficult for me, a lot more work for me. It's more work than I think most would understand. That's why sometimes you'll see me. I used to be repetitive. Linda's helped me with that. I try to move along and say what I'm seeing, and saying what I'm knowing. Sometimes it comes to me in a volume like this, in understanding, because of that's the way he is, and so I want to make it clear. But that's the understanding of Jesus Christ, not that the condemnation, not the guilt, not the unveiling of sin, any of those things, none of those things. Especially our relationship, how he is toward me, becomes the most critical way I understand the person of Jesus Christ, how he is toward me personally, and the text. He becomes my safest place. Even when I'm in sin, in lust, in an issue in my own personal life that I'm struggling with, yeah, I have all those struggles. Even in that, he becomes the safest place. He has never done what I do to my son is, I told you this 10 years ago and you're still doing it. Never. Ever. But that's how my father did me, and that's how I did my kid. Again, you're doing this? I try not to, because I know he doesn't. But I tell you, I used to have a longer tongue, but I've bitten half of it off over the years. Yeah, same thing. Okay, so this thing, it's a spirit. And there's times that, there's times that when I come somewhere, or prophetic people come, or when we have a presbytery, when I come with two other guys, or we go with another guy and Linda, a guy that Chuck knows, there's immediate this pneuma, this spirit that's present. It's amazing. Even with some guys I'm with that are negative prophets, it's amazing. They open up their mouth and this positive nature comes out. I'm like, it affects them, affects me, affects us. But it's to be the guard and grid. I should know that the pneuma, the movement of the Spirit's always to magnify him, always to exalt him. As he said about the Spirit of God, he's be your teacher. He will bring to your remembrance the things I've said. He'll be your comforter, your guidance. All those things are mixed into it. There's no way in this one moment I could define all that. But just the study of the Spirit of God is just this incredible way. He'll convict the world of their sin, not me. He will. He'll do it. But he'll do it by a revelation of himself. That's how he did it. When light comes, darkness is made aware. The light has come. Darkness doesn't know it's in darkness until light comes. When light comes, darkness is aware it's in dark. I don't know I'm in dark until light comes. Men run away from the light because that's their normality. But I don't know it until then. Okay, is that okay with that? Good? All right, so I know that. Again, one of the grids, we'll look at that in a second. All right? Now, the spirit of prophecy, beautiful. Okay, let's do the gift of prophecy. Now, this is in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, just for a quick text. And we'll look at it in just a couple minutes, quickly. All right. All right, so under the gift of prophecy, let's list a couple things. The first is it's given by grace through the Holy Spirit. Let me just say this about all the gifts of the Spirit. They're for everybody when they're needed. Yeah. So that's how you could look at them. You know, because I have some people, I have the discerning of spirits. Now, I'm kinder than I used to be. And I'll say, no, you don't. You have it when it's needed. Oh, that's how I function in that. I see devils. Don't talk to me like that too much. Don't say too much of that. We should talk about it. I see devils, angels. I ask them, do you see paint and people too? I don't know. It's just, is it that they live in that? That's a real mistake. That's a real mistake. We all have natural senses to discern both good and evil. All of us do. Actually, we have more to discern evil than good. How many of you grew up seeing good in people or bad in people? If you grew up seeing good in people, raise your hand. Right away, every time you look at a person, you guys are great. I grew up seeing bad in people. I wish I could be around you. I want to see if you ever say anything negative about anybody. That's the test. If you see good, you don't say there's nothing negative. I got to tell you, I say that guy, I don't like the way that guy's dressed. I can't believe that guy has a sleeve of tattoos and is a youth pastor. And his wife has a half a sleeve. I can't believe that. I mean, my gosh. Is that I'm not sure, but is that the associate pastor who's got a mohawk? What's going on with this church? That's the minor of my negativity before Jesus got a hold of me. So we're both able to discern out of Hebrews chapter 5, discern both 6, both good and evil. And that's why we have to have our senses exercised to be able to know, to discern. There's a natural discernment and a growth discernment that we have. Spiritual gifting is to discern spirits of men, men's spirits, people's spirits, people's attitudes. It is somewhat demonic, but I just want to encourage you, don't go there. We weren't born from the second heaven. We were born from the third. Don't even play with that. Don't even go there. I would encourage you, don't even, well, I shouldn't say that. I won't say that. I won't say don't even read the books, but you can. All right, everybody okay with that? All right, it comes from the divine influence, the gift of prophecy. It's given by grace through the Holy Spirit. It comes from the divine influence. It's the same thing that's going to be with the prophet. It's the only thing that's going to have for us in the gift of prophecy is it's going to have some limitations to it. It's going to have some surroundings, some boundaries. Would be better limitations. So and that's how it was with me. First of all, the gift of prophecy came, and it came to do three things. So even when we go to do our little workshop, when it comes to me, I require this. Now this is probably becomes the most rubbed or difficult thing for people who are prophetic that ever sit with me like this. This is where they struggle the most. Because I'm going to say these three things. That anything below a prophet, any level of prophecy, there's levels. I have a family member who says, some say he's a prophet. He asks me, what do you think? I said, no. High level of the gift of prophecy with the word of wisdom, word of knowledge, but you're not, and I say that graciously, but you're not in that ministry. You're just not. It's just not the call of God there, but this is just a high functioning of that, and it's good. And it was that way. So here's the three things it's going to do. Always. It's going to be building. Always. Building. 2, it's going to be always encouraging. Always. Now, I said to you, most prophetic people are negative. I don't know why the Lord chooses the people like this. They just are naturally negative people. And 3, it's comforting. So here's what I generally say in a moment like this. Okay, so I say, if it's not any of those things, do not say anything. So it's always this way. So somebody's going to come up. You might come up now. I'm okay with it. It's normal. So I usually, somebody come up right away. I know they're just this type. So I had a text, email earlier this year. Dr. J, you remember me, you folks, and you really said that you saw that I really have the gift of prophecy and the prophetic nature. I said, yeah, I remember, yeah. He goes, and you said that, he asked me again. So he said it never should be negative. What happens, this is the question to try to change that answer. What happens when I see something, I just know something negative about a person? I said, well, how did you get to know that? I just knew it. I just know. I said, okay. You can't say anything. Now that's frustrating. So it was a little while. To my face, they just look at me like, it's hard to trust me, but they know me, so they're trying to trust me. So you just can't say anything. They said, well, what am I supposed to do with it? I says, you pray. The reason it came to you was so that you continue to pray and love, serve, and encourage that person. Right away, that was like me tearing the veil of their flesh in half. Because they just wanted to say, I have a word for you. And to get down to like a Darth Vader voice. I got a word for you. I just want you to know the Lord. And they were right, though. I says, well, tell me what it is. Well, I don't know if I can say it. Yeah, you can say it. Tell me what it is. It's about their kids, right? And about what's going on in their home. Yeah, you know? Yeah, I know. But then how do you not say it? Because I understand part of the grid is I see it so that I'll live in intercession for it. Isn't it funny he ever liveth to make intercession for us? Why? Are you okay? Okay, this questioning? So, is he speaking to the Father? Why would he be doing that since the cross and the covenant of God has made all things right with our Father, and that's unchanging? Does the Father need to be convinced about me, or do I need to be convinced about him? Tell me. Think about it. Just think about it. The intercession means to come and light upon somebody to convince them of what's going on. We intercede for people. To him, he touches them. He comes to me to convince me of his ability, even when I'm uncertain of his possibility or how he feels about me. Absolutely. So I need to live in an intercession for them. That bugs her, because now, see, that's the responsibility. If you're going to get this emanating spirit comes to you, I have a responsibility with that word. So when I leave this church, I can't just prophesy to pastor tomorrow morning and leave this church and leave the prophetic word here. Oh, no, I got to carry it, bear it, wear it, intercede it through. Well, Jay, are you interceding because you don't believe it? No, I absolutely believe it's true. But that's a responsibility that I have to stay with it, stay with you, believe God for it. It just didn't come to build our faith and to be the right word. And we walk away and say, I don't care. Oh, no. It needs to live with me. Everything he has spoken, he has held on to for us. Isn't it beautiful about him? But now this is this body of Christ that we're living in right now. And so it can never be negative. So this last one was, but I don't know if I can do that, unfortunately. If that person is negative in the prophetic word, the Lord will shut that thing, just close off that flow. That's how it'll happen. So guess who becomes the most frustrated person on the face of the earth? The person who wants to prophesy, who feels like they're called to it, but the Lord's not speaking to them. Now they open themselves up to other things if they're not careful. A lot of sound, spirit of the age, antichrist spirit. There's a lot of muse going on in the invisible world. Fortunately for me, I don't live in this world. Or I don't live in the second one. I live in the third one, so I'm going to hear him. That's it, period. That's who we're supposed to be. Okay? So the gift of prophecy, I want you to do. I want you to have it for me. I don't want you to come. I know people are nervous when they come. I think I have a word for you. Okay, let's hear it. I'll bring Pastor Chuck over, Pastor Nancy, Yeah, come on, let's hear it. And they're just rattling. They're losing years as they're speaking. Well, I just feel like the Lord wants me to let you know that your kids are going to be okay. And I hug them. Thank you. Even though I know that, I've spoken it, I love to hear that. I need that person. I do. I need it. Okay? Good. Any questions with that? Okay, now the prophet. Whole different story. All right, but we need to touch on it. We didn't touch on it much the last time. Here's what the definition of it is, of the prophet. One who speaks forth one who makes known, one who pleads the cause of God. It's funny, even Thayer's definition, even in the lexicon, they do not want to say that in the New Testament. They don't want to. They even in that they don't want to say the prophets. It's amazing to me because it's a religious thing. They still struggle with the modern day prophets still to this day. It's hard for them to believe that there could still be a person. Matter of fact, my Bible, between my Old Testament and my New Testament, I can show it to you later. It says the end of the prophets. That's how I must know, because they don't exist anymore, because he's right there in my Bible. It says the end of the prophets. Okay, I'm just teasing you. Okay, I want you to have these 6 things that will function with the prophet. And then we're going to move on to the hearing, and I'm going to skip the 1 Corinthians 12 and 14. All right, this is again, we didn't cover this at all, but I want you to have it. All right, these are 6 things that you'll find with the prophet's ministry, the prophet. One is future events. He or she will speak of future events. 2, past events. In other words, there's a clear opening and understanding of past, present, and future, in a sense, with the prophet. 3, direction. If you have a sense of giving somebody direction, do not do it. You can walk away and say, listen, I just want you to know, if you're asking me, I just feel like maybe a new job is coming. If you in the gift of prophecy, don't do that. Don't do direction, because you will become responsible for that word, and you'll be responsible for that person's life. It's way weightier than we realize. So a lot of things have to transpire before the Lord will do that. And in most cases, it's not him. It's just you're sensing, you're feeling, you're pulling to try to get something. Don't do that. All right, number 4, secrets unveiled. The apostle will be like that as well, especially in this in the scripture, but also in things. But this it's just the secret of the Lord is with those who fear Him. That's going to be an automatic. Those who reference Him. But with the prophet is going to be just secrets, things that only you know, just be unveiled. It's just that way. He does that. The reason for that happening sometimes in people's lives is so that they're in awe that the Lord knew that, understood that, and was with you there and is involved in that. That's what makes it so incredible. It's still to magnify Jesus. That's what it is. It's not to say, oh, you're really something because you see back in your life or when they were 6 or 10. It's none of that. That's crept into what we knew was the prophet up into this day and hour. But the Lord is causing that to descend. That's all changing now. It's not to be that. There's not to be any exaltation. If anything, the apostles and prophets should, in their own minds, believe that they're the least among the brethren. It has to be. Because of the giftings and the great grace of God upon them, they can have. Pride's just not going to be allowed. It's just not. It's just not. It can't. Can't be. They don't blend. They don't mix. Okay. 5, revelation. And 6th, there'll be a mouthpiece. Okay? And why don't you just write these down, because I don't want to turn to these chapters right now. Just write down 1 Corinthians chapter 12, 1 through 12. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, 1 through 5. And 29 through 33. Those last verses are when you have 2 or 3 prophets together. If one's revealed to one, let him sit and learn. Let the other one speak. And there's that kind of presbytery is so much fun. Linda does more functioning when it's like that. When we're with another person or 2 other people, she really brings in a great dimension in that particular way. And she compliments me too. But sometimes she's just she sits back just because of time and so on and so forth. Okay. Can we just continue? Or you need a break? Be honest. Yeah, you okay? How about over here, all right? You sure? Okay. All right, ways to hear. These are just going to be without which this is a little difficult for me because I really would prefer to take you through the entire Old Testament and look at every prophet. That's really because origin is necessary for us. When we're wanting to find something as a scriptural basis for something, we got to have origin. So how did the Lord speak in the beginning? How did He speak to the prophets? So there's certain ways that it comes. A lot of times it comes because of the type of person you are. Now, so one of you may be better with this. Some people are oratory. What is that? Hearing or seeing? Hearing. All right. Some people are better with getting visuals. And so the Lord will come to us in the ways, generally in the beginning, in ways that we are most susceptible or open to hearing. It's how we learn or gain information. So with me from the beginning was since I was neither one of those. No, I would come to church when I first. So we had our associate pastor prophesied quite a bit. He was really a prophet guy. He's one of our teen guys that you never knew, Chuck. Really an apostolic. Everybody had this apostolic prophetic thing. He was this way too. But he'd have this just prophesy. But I'd watch him, and the Spirit of God would come on him. He didn't shake or anything, but you could see it though. It was one of these things where the Lord, all of a sudden, he would sense God on him to prophesy. That's how he would know it. And so that's how he learned it, and that's how I learned it. So when I would come to church, I always came to church ready. Who knows? I was just always that way. Especially since I saw a desire to prophesy. Plus, I liked the way I liked it and everything. So we come back, and sometimes it wouldn't be there, maybe once a year, twice a year, but I just felt the Lord. He moved on me. That's the only way to explain it. I just felt Him on me, and I just would begin. The words would come. That's how it was for me first. The words would start coming, or I'd have a sentence, and I would say the sentence. Because I wasn't going to just open up my mouth and have nothing to say. No, I didn't have that kind of faith. I don't know if I still have that kind of faith now. But it would come that way, just that would fit J. Leroux. So in this beginning, it'll come to you in the way you hear. It'll be in your voice. It doesn't come in the voice of Darth Vader or, what's his name, talking to Moses is all wrong. And I have a feeling that even from Abraham out, the word was still inside of them when the Lord spoke out here, he said he heard him or people heard something. He always defined that in the scriptures generally. But we don't know how the Old Testament prophets, did he say it out here? I have a feeling it wasn't out here because then others would have heard at least a noise or a sound. They had a way of, they had an open communication, which the prophet does. They have this avenue. That's the best way I can tell you. There's this open place with God that they have from the very beginning. It wasn't like that with me. I have some guys who are prophet friends. As soon as they wake up in the morning, it's like they have this channel. I mean, they're burping, drinking coffee. They're eating a donut. And they'll just turn and say something. Listen, I have a word for you. And I'm thinking, don't you even have to get ready? Brush your teeth, floss, something? Yeah, but that was Clint. But what that guy did in my life, though, was I realized I still can't work for this. Even though I said everything I said tonight, I can't work for it because it doesn't come through works. It's just something he does. Got it? I'm responsible to prepare myself, but even if I'm not prepared, he still can do it. Okay, great. So that's how it comes on. Does it come with that way? It started that way with me, so I'm encouraging you. And then I want to hear from you how it comes. Those of you who do it, how it comes. The next level for me was it started to come in pictures or vision. This is probably when I started to speak a little bit more over people. I was at a youth thing one time. The biggest one was I was at a youth thing and started laying hands on the kids, and I could just see these pictures of the father, their issue with their dad. One girl had 5 fathers, and I just said, "You've had 5 fathers," just because I just said what I saw, and she started to cry. She did. She never had a father, but her uncle was a father, her brother was a father. I didn't know what I was talking about. I just said what I saw. That's how the prophets did. They said what they saw. I didn't try to explain or anything. And so that was this evolution for me from that point. And, of course, I kept hearing prophetically about this voice and mouthpiece and that and everything. So I trusted. The prophetic word helped me to trust. So it came to me to cause me to trust. It comes to you through me in many ways to be able to trust that way. All right? And then what started to happen was I wouldn't get anything, but I would lay hands on somebody. And by laying hands on them, I would immediately begin to know. Sometimes it would come in visions, pictures, Bible verses, Bible chapters, Bible in particular people. I knew it was out of the book of Joshua. I knew it was out of the book of Ruth. I just knew, and so I would speak to them. But if I didn't lay hands on anybody, nothing would happen. So I would just do it. And then it evolved from there to the point, then it was I didn't have to lay hands on anybody. I would just look over there, and I would know. And then sometimes I just wouldn't know. And now what happens is now I just look, I just know. So what used to be something that I would have and not have and not have, now it's just always. That's how it is. So I'm walking in a place now of just, it's supposed to be like that, just this ongoing, thing. What's different now, and I'm going to answer this because I think someone had asked it, was sometimes people say, well, Jay, how do you know who to go to? And that is different because sometimes I'm drawn by the need. Sometimes I'm drawn by his inspiration. Sometimes I'm drawn because of what I'm sensing or where they're sensing. And my most hardest thing is I want to speak, but it's not time. That's the hardest for me. Because I want to. And I've held on to, I should say, I've held on to some things for people for a decade. Every time I see them, I want to say this, but I know it can't be said now. You know why? Because they're making a decision that they want him to make between him and them, not through me. Some things he keeps personal. It's only going to be him. And so some things I just don't know. I won't know. I only know what I know how he does it. But I will tell you this, though. I'm living for it to be such clarity, such purity, that it's just like it was for him. That's the goal. That's what he wants for all of us in the level that you're at. So I want to be so that so the closer I get to him, the more one I become, the more sense I have of what's happening in the lives of people and what's going on. It's increased the burden, it's increased the weight, it's increased the responsibility, it's increased my need to be with him, it's increased my responsibility with him, it's increased the revelation of things, it's increased the discipline of things. But I got to tell you, though, it's worth it all. Okay. Questions? It is true. To judge, because not every spirit, 1 John 4:1, right. Trying the spirits. It's the spirits of men. Exactly. I kind of left it out then just to stay, Because what it is, though, is you got to have something to gird it by. I should give you, let me just give you, can I just finish with this? How about if I do my 2 grids? Can I do that? Can we finish? Are you tired? Okay. Now, I don't have it written down because I did them last time, but I know them. Okay, my first grid, very good. So this is how I do it. When the word comes to me, this is I have a dual grid. This grid, this one I'll do first. Is it for me personally? In other words, not so much a word for Jay, but am I to get it and hold it? Is it for me? Because sometimes I see things that I'm learning from, that I'm looking at it and I'm seeing it, because I'm supposed to learn to understand it. I'm supposed to find a way to work with it, work through it, understand it. That's. Second, is it my second question, because is this how I started? Is it for the church? Because I think that I'm very concerned about this personal prophecy. That's why I don't let anyone prophesy to me without an elder or a pastor there. I can judge the thing, but there should be a second person. And you shouldn't be practicing giving prophetic words or inspirational words to somebody in a corner somewhere. I would highly recommend you do not do that. I will not do it if it's not taped. So I was at one conference. They said, no, we can't tape it. I said, well, does anybody have a phone? I'm not going to do it. It's good for you and for me. Because people hear things that many times I didn't say that. Yes, you did. I didn't. Because I know. It marks me. Be surprised how well I memorize it. I know the things I've said to people. It's surprising. Because I don't want to be this cup and you throw it away afterwards. I want it to mark me, stain me. I want it to, so that my life and your life is measured. It's blended like ours is with his. Yeah. Okay. Third, should I speak it? I ask that. Should I speak it? I have more liberty now than I ever had to speak. You could see that. But there was a time when I had less liberty. I'm going to use a scripture verse that you're just going to see it in a different way, though. Where the Spirit of the Lord is ruling, there is liberty. Is that okay? So the more he has of J. Leroux, the more liberty he gives me. Is that all right? You know why? It's the same question as he could trust me. I want him to trust me. And so I want to be at a place that he really trusts me with anybody. Because he loves the man in the White House as much as he loves the man in the street. I want to speak to the man in the White House. But I want to speak to the man in the street too. Is that okay? All right, fourth. Is it for an individual? Now, I always prophesied openly, even in the beginning, because that's how we were taught. And my pastor would come over and say, Jay, good word, wrong time. Another time he said, wrong time, right time, wrong word. He didn't say the prophetic word was wrong, but I got a little bit of this energy, so I got to drive it home. So it was a quiet time. There's revival coming to the earth. Get ready, get ready. My pastor was so gracious. I just saw him and goes, you want to talk to me? Yeah. And my senior pastor was the guy that didn't like being in the water. He didn't like being in spirit. He was all word. The other one was all river. The two of them were a good blend for me. He was all word. So if I was going to say something, I better have a text for it. See, so it was a good foundation, right? Made me afraid, but I didn't care. I said, let it go. What's the worst going to happen? Correct me? Ooh. Yeah, you're right. I don't like correction. I need it, though. Okay, is that okay? All right. What is it, 5? Should I speak it to that person? So it always was this to the church? Was this to an individual? Was this for me? Should I hold it? Should I speak it? And that would be my initial grid. It's still my initial grid now. One of the things that's helped me with discipline is the waiting. Haven't you found that out? Waiting blows. I don't know what's that up with that waiting thing. But even with our grace gifts, I got to wait on the time. And I'm going to chomp at the big guy. So Linda would say to me when we were at conferences, you got a word? I said, yeah, of course. Yeah, I do. You should get up and say it. No, I can't. It'd be like Jeremiah's things far. I just can't. What he was doing was he's building an integrity with the people I was with. Then he let me speak. Isn't that good? I hated it. All right, that's that side of the grid. This is the other side of the grid, okay? Word, spirit, number one. Is it in the Word? Is it in the Word? Now, he's going to measure that by the knowledge of the Word each of us have. He doesn't want you to have my knowledge or me to have yours. But I always do that. The grid's always going to be, is it comes somewhere within this text. So it's important for me to have it opened up to me because it really enhances my ability in prophecy too, on top of that. Is it in the Word? I would strongly encourage you not to, thus saith the Lord, as Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall and was broken in many pieces, the Lord is going to put you together again. Please don't do that. I beg you. Please don't do that. Because that could go anywhere. And even if I say something, I've used the Tin Man a couple times. And I said, I really don't want to do this, but you're in such need of oil and this and that. I really don't want to do Wizard of Oz in prophecy, but I don't. 1 and 1, not 1 and 2, in the spirit. The spirit of this whole spirit of what I'm feeling. Is it leading to Jesus Christ? Is it Him? Is it that spirit? Is it everything I know about the comfort, the encouragement? Is He being real? Even in my own spirit now, are these words in the articulation of them? Are they drawing us to Him? Is there a seeing Him in it? I got an amazing compliment from this young man recently who said, when I wasn't sure how meeting you, how it would be. And he said, I always look for the presence of God to be with a man. That's my defining thing. And this young man said that was the thing. It wasn't anything else. It was that when I'm around you, there's the Lord is there. The presence of the Lord is there. And I couldn't have paid a better compliment by that young man. 3. Okay, let me see. Word. Is it according to the nature of Jesus Christ? Now I'm going to use this. I'm going to say the same thing, but I'm going to say it differently. Okay, is it to the nature of Jesus Christ? All right. 4. Is it to the character and disposition of Jesus Christ? In the character we understand. Character is that which is always, and disposition really is that which comes out of a person in a tight moment. It's really who they are. What is their way? My family disposition. My dad's a great guy until a car is in front of him with a blinking light for 2 miles, or a yellow light that they start hitting their brakes before they even get anywhere near it. My father's disposition shows up. Or when a neighbor walks his dog on his grass without a baggie, my father does it. He makes a new door in the front. Yeah. Otherwise, he's awesome. But we have this. So as this word's coming, what is it drawing out of that person? I used to take a little pride in making people angry or convicted. I did. Then he dealt with me about that. All my prophetic friends, we love to bring that scary word. I say to those guys, I said, really? I said, so you're with him. How would you feel if he did that to you? Well, you don't know. All right, and the fifth thing. Let me just think for a moment. I usually split up the last 2. What would be the final thing I would do? Oh. I would add into that, the final thing for me would be, is it the right time? I would finalize that. Even though the first one, should I speak it? The last one would be, is it the right time for me to say it? Yeah. Okay? the beautiful thing, the moment we're in right now is, and for those of us who are 30 years plus in this, is we've seen so much negative in it, me as well, that we question it all the time. The last thing I do with him is question it. I used to in the beginning, and so I wouldn't say certain things. Even in the early days when I had those little the prophecies, the gift of prophecy, I wouldn't say anything. I would leave, because here's what I'm thinking. My reputation is at line. The truth is this. Listen, I was just with 5 new churches and 500 new guys in California. One wrong word, I'm done. I mean, that's the risk. Because they're all judging me. All of them. I know that. So every new place I go, you're more comfortable being judged by, from the minute I walk in the door, everything. Especially what I'm saying. Everybody's judging it. We'll see. I got someone, we'll see if he's real. We don't even believe in him. We don't even think he exists. So what he wants to do is make himself known, not make Jay right. There's a difference. I got to fight that. Yes, but that's the cost. And so I'd leave and I'd be in the car and the Lord would be like this: no words. This is worse than words. In other words, why didn't you speak it? And so I don't want to say to him, well, I got a reputation to hold. What if I'm wrong? And you know what I mean? It's out loud. It's in front of everybody. I mean, I could be, at that time I could say, this is like pulling my pants down in front of a crowd. I mean, it's embarrassing. I mean, what if I miss it? All those things I'm saying. And you know his answer to that is? You going to learn to trust me? Aren't you? We're all learning to trust him, aren't we? We are. Whether we're witnessing to somebody or anything, we're learning to trust him. Okay. All right. We're at 20. Any questions? Any comments? Maybe the way the word comes to you. You want to add to this? I certainly don't have the whole on this at all. No? I love that. So then how do you feel when I feel worse than if it was wrong after that. How many of you ever felt like that? Yeah, okay. Different? This is great. Great, that's good. So we're going to do it, though. We're going to put ourselves out the next time. Let's do it. Beautiful. Yeah. 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 Yes. No, I would add that before I leave the house. That would be a great taped right on my doorway. Beautiful. It's great. Anyone else? Yes. No, don't get out. Stop the car. Drive over there. Beep at him. Roll the window down 2 inches. Say, I got to say something to you. It just do it. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. And he's just. I mean, if any of this young movement with these young guys of just prophesying to anybody, if it's done anything for us as a people, It's dropped to fear. Some of it, of course, is going to get a little bit weedy and this and that. It's going to happen. But the Lord will discipline all that stuff. But this challenge, it's how I grew up, though. Just go for it. Just go for it. Stop. The bad thing about knot holes, which I appreciate that, I now guard everything. Man, drop the guard. Go defenseless. Be a sheep. Just wander around like you're stupid. The shepherd says, "Eat here," but just do it. I mean, just that's the, I need to be healed, because if I had an encounter with a person in my younger years, if I see that person again, I'm debilitated already with movement that way. I don't want to be that way. Let's not be that way. Oh, I've done it. I picked. And I shouldn't do it. I won't do it now. But I picked up people in my car all the time. Told the kids lay hands on them. I don't care. But I pick up women and men. Linda would say, "That's not a good idea." She was right. So I stopped doing that. I do. If Linda's in the car now, I stop over. I just, I've done it in the men's room, gym. Yeah. I'm on a green. We're on a green light, baby. There is no red light or yellow. If he wants to put a caution light, he can. If he wants to red light it, fine. But the light's green. Go. I'll tell you, it'll energize you. You walk away like, yeah. Yeah, well, it's wonderful. Okay, anyone else? Sure. Yes. Yep. Sorry. The- yeah, and they'll love you for that. That's what I mean. Just build. Take who we are, grace, gifts that we've been gracefully. They're for our lives, not for the church only. Take it everywhere. Yeah, great. Yeah, yeah. And so I would keep. So I can't. I don't. You won't hear me say, "Thus saith the Lord," generally, or Jesus is saying this. Just say words, and I would say it. We're going to do something at the end. You could stay. Who are we going to talk to? We're going to talk. I can't do it here, but there's 6 types of people Jesus speaks about. That's really helped me. I couldn't do it here now. When I'm looking at a person, I can see the prisoner, the naked, the sick, the hungry, the thirsty, and it helps me moving toward them because of where they've been, how they've been. But when I'm out there, I just say words that are encouraging and building, and without any gospel. It's okay. It's like talking to the farmer. I'm going to talk about how that tree grows. I'm going to talk about the student or the kid in the street or the poor student. Just you have it. You really have it. And I think that the Lord is not just with you but with others is really stretching us so that our articulation isn't so much fitting our personal language but theirs. And so which I left out of this too, and this will help, is I'm speaking according to the person's ability to hear. And so that's part of what I'm responsible to do, which makes it a lot more difficult in prophecy. And I do it in the word too, but the word's just going to be the word. But in prophecy, it's important to him that I articulate it according to their hearing. How does he talks to every one of us according to our ability to hear? And so I've got to do that, but it's not the same thing working with the students, working with people, is I speak according to their hearing. I don't have to necessarily use yo, or what up, or curse just because I'm talking to a hard man. I'm not going to swear, but I've got to use some language. And so with people in prophecy, he's really working this in us, and me always has, is some people say to me that understand, they go, Jay, no one understands what you're saying except for that person. I said, part of it is because that person is the only one who knows, beside me and him. And so I'm not talking so everybody knows. They know, and sometimes I'll stop and I'll say something. I said, do you know what I'm talking about? And they'll nod their head. And so you just talk with them. Let the Lord stretch us that the words will come for you. I don't mean they fall the sky, but he'll cause you to understand and speak to them. I'd be open to it. You're awesome. And you got the same thing here. Like there, the Lord's put us there so that we can do that. Absolutely. Okay? Joining. It's beautiful. I love that. And you have what unfortunately the advantage with us, the unbeliever in counseling, I appreciate. The advantage we have is we've got somebody who knows that person, and he's wanting me to be at least be willing to be worked so that I can be a vessel in that regard to that person, and it's beautiful. I'm believing the Lord's infiltrating, which is not a good word, the whole educational community. But get ready for what the Lord's going to do there. I mean, really get ready. Yeah, I will. Are we okay? So I need to come back and do this. It's in Matthew chapter 25. You know the story. Jesus separates the goats from the sheep, and he says, now I've taught this for a long time when I was at the first Bible college. I teach this to our Sunday school teachers, educators, every level. I teach this to secular communities that I'm invited to. They don't know who I am. They just know I'm Dr. J. Leroux, and they don't know what they say. I'm a psychologist or whatever. So I teach these principles, then I prophesy to them, which is kind of fun because they don't believe in it. It's fun. But I use careful words, though, because their lives are so broken. All right, here. So Jesus said this. I separated, and he says this to the sheep. When I was hungry, you fed me. How about if I do each one of them like that? So the first person, I'll preface it with this. I only like two of these people, two of these six. The other ones I've had to learn. You'll relate maybe. Hungry. When I was hungry, you fed me. You fed me meat is the idea. We're going to be around people that are just hungry. I love hungry people. Whether they're hungry athletically, hungry in the church, hungry in arts, they're the people who are striving, working hard, loving what they're doing. They're just hungry. I love those people. I love professional athletes for that. I love musicians who are really hungry people. Anybody who's hungry, I love. I always have. I love them. They're my students who sit over here, and they ask me questions in between. I love that. All right? But they want meat. The only way you can give them meat is if you yourself eat meat. By the way, the Bible, meat is... No. Well, it's good, yeah. Lamb. Bullocks were sacrificed, lambs, but the Bible meat is lamb because he is of what? Lamb of God. We eat him. What did they eat on the Passover? The lamb. Exodus chapter 12 would be a good personal study. Every man had to eat, but according to his ability to eat. So what I do is I used to force feed people the leg of lamb because that's how I was. The people that were in church with me, the guys who raised me said, Jay, not everybody's an apostle. Not everybody's a prophet. Because everybody in my classroom, I take I want them to eat the whole head. Open up your mouth, shove it down your throat, eat the whole leg. Some people only want just a little bit of liver, and that's it. They only want a little bit of lung. I want them to take the whole lung. So I've had to learn not everybody eats like that. All right, second. is when I was thirsty, you gave me drink. Now, what he's saying, do you know how this ends? Do you know what he says at the end of this? Okay, I want to tell you. This is what he says. What you did to the least of these, you did it to me. It's personal for him. I don't believe, I know there's like 27 or 40 different patterns of personalities. Now, I think Jesus gives us the 6 types of people here. That's how I live life according to this here. All right, they want to drink. They don't want to eat. They don't want lamb. They want drink. They want spirit. They want water. They want wine. They want river. But it's all levels of drinking, all sides. Do you ever study rivers? No, there's not one river alike. I mean, it's amazing to me. It's a dimension here. But listen, you can't give water or spirit unless you yourself drink or we drink. You'll find yourself, if you spend time with the Lord in the morning, you'll drink from the fountain of the great deep, and you'll taste of God in ways you never thought possible. All right, you got that? That's the second one. The third was, I was a stranger, and you took me in. Interesting language. Again, you love Jesus' words. The stranger is a foreigner. In other words, they just don't feel like they fit in. They're from somewhere else. Now, I've learned this best with teenagers because this is where I started to learn it. So I'll look at the kid. All these are within teenagers. So here comes that one kid. He's dressed in all black. We call it goth. Here comes that one child, head shaved on one side, 55 pieces of metal in one ear, hair down to the side there, tight jeans, ripped shirt. But they're doing everything to stand off. They don't want to stand out. They just feel like they don't belong. They're strangers. There's adults like this, men and women. You might be one of them in this room right now. You just don't feel like you fit anywhere. You just don't feel like you're the odd peg. We all grew up in we're all some of these. Maybe we're all more than one. Some of these. I was one of these. I'll show you in a moment. And so what Jesus says, though, is he says, I was a stranger. They'll be against the wall. They'll be in a car. I look them. As soon as I get there, first thing I do is go to that one. Yo, what's up? How you doing? Here's what the word take me in. It's this gradual like this. You made me feel like I belonged. So that's what I do immediately. Hi, how you doing? If I'm at the Starbucks and I see a guy sitting by himself, I know he's done everything to keep everybody away. Or she. Or they've been, I know more about their lives than you would, and I'll purposely go, I'll say to him, I say, hey, man, good to see you, looking good. Studying there? School? Yeah? Anything to make them feel like they belong. Oh, yeah, I love it. Practice it. When I was growing up, though, I have family members who are strangers. You know what I say to them? You're strange. Well, grandpa, uncle, that's not very nice. No. What you're doing, though, is I know you don't feel like you fit in, but anybody who's friendly will have friends. Just be friendly. That's the answer to them, but I'm not going to say that there. So it's this, what do you mean? It's gradual taking in. You took me in. It doesn't necessarily bring them in their house, but this is somebody who receives you just the way you are. Listen, you know that story about the unprofitable servant? It was about offenses. How many people offend us? Because of the way they look, or what they do, what they say. You know, I'm not big on cursing. I have some family members that got PhDs in cursing. They can't say 5 words without the F word being in there 3 times. My family. And they love coming over to my house. And they love to talk like that in front of me, the holy man. Don't they know who I am? I mean, they know I do this, but they still have this liberty and freedom to talk like this in front of me. You know who gave that to them? I wish I didn't. I wish I held them to a little law. Just a little law. Like when you're in our house, don't swear. Now, when my family's around or kids, I'll say to them, my nephew, chill. But you know why I want him to not do that? Because I don't like it. I'm not debating it with you, but it's an issue with me, you know what I mean? I'll say to him sometimes, come here, because he loves me. You got to chill down on the language. But it's who I am. No, it's not. It's what your mouth says. So we'll have it out, but he knows, though, in my home and around me, he's not a stranger. Got it? You know why? Because he's Jesus. That's what Jesus said. I was a stranger. And the sheep said, we never saw you as a stranger. What you did to the least of them, you did it to me. All right, third. I haven't read it for a while, though, so I'm going to do it by heart. When I was naked, you clothed me. Let me see. You could look it up for me to make sure I get them all. It's the 12th chapter of Matthew. 25th chapter of Matthew. I think I got them all, though. Let's see. Yeah, this is 4, right? Yeah, we got them all, right? Okay. When I was naked, you clothed me. This has two inferences. It literally means with no clothes on. Now, there's some people who, careful. Naturally, anybody who's been assaulted, raped, verbally beaten by their family, walk around just like this all the time. They just feel like everybody sees everything. They just feel exposed. They just feel naked. So you'll watch and they'll come down and they'll be almost like this. They'll just kind of be, they're not like the stranger, but they'll literally just be hiding. They don't even want to engage you. I know that. I used to look at those, see that these people, this person I could never deal with. Because they're going to come in, this is a long process with them. Here's why. He said, when I was naked, you clothed me. Now, you know people like this. Maybe you're like this. Though. I love these people. And so there's another one that hurt me because there's a reason why they're like that. Or they just grew up insecure, and the parents beat the insecurity. You're fat. You're stupid. You're dumb. You'll never be able to anything. Well, that's just how they never believed it, but that's just how they feel. This is real. He says, you clothed me. The clothing idea is one piece of garment at a time. Isn't it funny? So all our babies and my grandkids, for some reason, I could take an hour to put clothes on my grandchild because she's kicking and it's so funny. But when it comes to an adult, I get all pissy. How long are you going to be like this? I helped you with you've been wearing your underwear for 6 years. When are you going to grow up a little bit? When are you going to start getting somewhere? Put on a shirt. In other words, grow. That's what my father said. You going to grow up sometime? I thought, I would like to be 6'2". Is this possible? Can I grow some more? I know what he meant, though. I say it to my kids, it's so stupid. When are you going to grow up? I don't know, Dad. When I'm 21, maybe I'll grow up then. But I get irritated with people, which made me not a good pastor. The Lord's had to deal with me. Because I've gone as prophesied. Some people say to me, do you prophesy to me every time? I want to say to them, why do you think? It's not always positive, the reason why I do it. I don't want to sometimes, but he's reaching to them. So I do. All right? You okay? And trust me on this. Listen, if I don't give you a word, never have, be encouraged. Because you know why? He wants to speak personally. It's far better than my mouth. Even though I appreciate you wanting it to come to me. All right, you got that? But it also means this, though. The person wearing the wrong clothing. Okay, this will help. Now, listen. Men have a habit of doing this. So I go to pastors' conferences. We never have it ours. I don't like going to pastors' conferences. They invite me. Immediately, they got to put my name up here so that everybody will respect me. Dr. J. Leroux. I rip it off. Lenny goes, you shouldn't do that. I put it on the inside of my coat. I don't like them. I put them back here a couple times with my shirt down. So what happens with the pastors, because they might have a church of 100, they know they're going to a meeting. Somebody's got a church of 1,000, 2,000. So we puff up our wool. We try to look bigger than we are. Professionals do this too. We had a little prayer in our Bible school. We had home groups, and one home group was all professionals. You'll find this about professionals. They only care about what they do. But I love them, though. We have to have them. But that's all they talk about is what they do. So I sent over there a girl who's intimidated by them. One of my students says, you're going to go over there and serve that group. Well, she came back crying. I'm not going to do it anymore. Because they didn't give her any. They just, go get me some water. Where's my coat? Get me anything. She said, all they did was talk about themselves. I said, that's what they do. I just made a sale. I made $50,000 on that. I play golf. I'm a professional. I got a call from the president. Man, I get in that room. There's no room for me. I'm choking. There's so much wool being puffed out because we want everybody to see us like we want to be seen. Wrong clothing. What you do is you help them take it off. You unclothe them. You know what? I love you just because you who you are. I love what you do. Listen to them. Once they give you their paragraph of stuff, there's nothing to talk about anymore. So I sent her back. She was like, Audrey, yeah, that's your class. I said, by the end of this 12 weeks, I want them to absolutely love you, adore you, and want you back. That's exactly what happened. I said, just serve them. Unclothe them. Let them be safe. even in their failures or mistakes or not being as good as the other guy. Professionals are just like that. I love them, though. You think those professional golfers playing the Ryder Cup, though, they get in there and go, oh, you're great, you're great. No, they all go, wow, we're great, I'm great. Good thing I'm here. Oh, yeah, I'm sure that's not happening in the Los Angeles Lakers right now. But anyways. All right, going down. Next one. When I was sick, you visited me. This is 5. Are these okay, Pastor? When I was sick, you visited me. Now, this does not mean physical health. This is emotional, depressed, down, negative, poor self-image. I don't like this person. These people would come to my office. I was a principal for 2 years. And that I would have those students, and their parents were worse than that. And so I'd see the parent pull up in the driveway. I got to come and talk with me. She's depressed. The kid's depressed. I'm not. I would say to my secretary, I got to go. Where? They're coming. You have an appointment with them. I'm telling them. I used to hide under the desk. I mean, it was bad. Yeah. I thought I can't stand. It's the same thing week after week after week, year after year. I still have them in my life now. Dr. J, I said, did you hear the word? Did you remember the word last year? I repeated, yeah, I appreciated that. But I don't know. Maybe you should listen to it again. Have you listened to it again? No. I don't know if I could believe it now. I believed it then, but I don't know now. Here's the word, though. You visited me. Here's the language. The door was always open. You willingly came to me. See, when I began to understand that, the Lord dealt with me. Jay, you don't even willingly go. The door's always open to this person. Go, call, text. I'm better at it now. They're all Elmer's. Maybe this person, though, everything is just negative. I understand. The biggest help in this is to be the person who reaches out. That helps all of these areas. Okay, the last one. Been a lot of information. You good? Yeah, thanks. I still would like to take 10 minutes and we'll just do one session of it. Okay, the last one was, I was in prison and you came to me. You visited me, I'm sorry. The other one is came to visit me. Either way, I'll tell you what the language is. Anybody here do prison ministry? Great. Okay, so you'll understand this, right? So here's my first time going to a prison. Our prison person, whatever what they're called, chaplain, came to me because she was a woman. She goes, Jay, there's a guy in here who's in for murder. He's number 2 in the leading gang member, which I can't say of the nation. He broke the guy's leg, broke his arm. He's a 7th degree black belt, but he swears so much I can't talk to him. He's got tattoos all over his arms. I said, was he a youth pastor? She goes, no, he's a gang member. I said, oh, okay. I said, no, he's a gang member. So I go, and he's swearing like crazy. So I go to the front. The guys on the other side aren't that far away from that side of the cell, though. This beast comes over. I mean, I would have thought he was huge. And he got this, and he goes, yes, I'm here to see so-and-so. What's your name? I says, Jay Leroux. Doesn't even say, hold on. I'm standing and looking around. Everybody in there is like, I hope a fight doesn't break out in here. Guy comes back, you can't see him. I said, I'm sorry, it's Pastor Jay Leroux. Get some more authority. He looks at me like almost that sheepish grin, like, fool. Shuts the thing, comes back. Goes, you can't see him. I lean over, and I say, it's Dr. Jay Leroux. He leans over to me and says, I don't care if you're the president. Listen, if he doesn't allow you in, you can't come in. He has to sign your name in there. The prisoner is the hardest person to reach because they control your ability to reach them. They control the ability, though. So I'm not talking about the natural prison. I'm talking about the person next door to us, our neighbor. They only let you in if you've earned the right to come in. They're the hardest person. And so I have some family members, some friends, my own neighbors in my own, you don't know where I live, but I have a neighbor. They don't care who I am. They've watched me on YouTube. They don't understand. They don't know. All they know is I'm Jay Leroux, their neighbor. I have some of them, they're in prison. Their family members are in prison, not real prison. I've got to somehow win them over. So we bake something and bring it over. Linda cooks amazing, bring food over there. My next door neighbor, she introduced first time. I said, "Hi, how you doing?" "I'm Jane the Pain. Nobody likes me. I complain about everything. Nice to meet you." So you know what I've done? Planted plants in her front yard, cut them, taken care of them. She complains about the way I cut them. When they're grown, she asks me to cut them, but then she hires a guy to do it if I don't do it. Then she complains that she had to hire him. I want to say to her, "Lady, I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart. I want to somehow defend myself." So I cut him, take care of him. She recently was in the hospital. I went to visit her, prayed for her. We still do the same thing. She's been in prison her whole life. I met her kids. They're in prison as well. So I've got to earn the right. The daughter said, "You're Jay, the minister?" I said, "Yeah, how you doing?" Had no shirt on. She was expecting somebody else, I'm sure. "How you doing?" I was working in her mother's yard when she pulled up. "Thank you for taking care of my mother. Hey, we love your mom. And anything you need, you let me know." I don't have time for this. But I have to make time. So the prisoner, you have him. What you have to do is, even if you outside with him, "How are you? How you doing?" The best thing is bring a gift. It works. Donuts. I teach it to my kids. My granddaughter had my granddaughter had a girl pick on her. My granddaughter that was in herself a prisoner. Girl picking on her. My daughter says, "I don't know what to do. We can't stop it. I've complained. The girl was big. Always picked on her." I says, I'll be there. I'll come. I'll take care of it." They said, "Oh, Grandpa's going to take care of it." I came in, that's right, with 24 of the most amazing donuts and cupcakes. They were like, "This is your grandfather?" And I put her in front of my granddaughter, and I said, "These are Shauna's. Shauna, you give them out." And I leaned over, I said, "So which one is before I know, I said, "Why don't you give it to her first?" So she did. She walked over with the box of donuts to the girl that had been her enemy the whole year and said to her, "What would you like?" It changed it. It was over. Never again did that happen. It was that easy. Love never fails. Okay. Father, thank you for this moment, this time. Lord, I just pray your grace be upon us. Even now we're a little tired, but let there be an openness of spirit that we would receive a word of encouragement to the person near us, the person beside us. Father, I thank you for that you are faithful no matter what, no matter how I feel, no matter what's going on. You're tremendous, and we this morning are just in awe of everything you are. I thank you for that in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, here's what I like to do. Groups of 4. We're going to end. All right, nobody you know. I don't want a husband and wife. Try to find somebody you don't even know. I know. Come on now. See, this is welcome to my world now. All right? Yeah, you like it. So I want you to split up